There's a cultural shift in Australia that's been going on for a long time, a shift that a lot of us knew was happening but didn't really understand fully. We've been told a lot recently that the left and right are becoming more polarized, that social media is playing a part in this, providing people with their own media to get information and locking them into echo chambers to reinforce views. But I wonder if this theory is totally accurate. I actually think what's happening and has happened is that Australians have been comfortable for decades now believing left-wing ideas are truth. And what's been happening lately is that the right is reasserting itself. And that feels like disunity has been created because it's uncomfortable and it forces us to think and it changes our minds on some pretty fundamental false assumptions of the left that we've been accepting perhaps a little too much for a little too long. These are ideas that just aren't working for us anymore. So maybe we haven't become more polarized. It's just that now there are two poles. And the old left, who had a grip on things for a long time, are being forced to listen to the right for a change. And they don't like it. In fact, they're not very good at it. They're used to just shutting the right down with cries of racist or bigot or greedy capitalist. And that old game, that old shtick, isn't working like it used to for them anymore. The murder of Charlie Kirk, while it's something that we in Australia once wouldn't have been too interested in, I guess, it's had a seismic effect right across the world, particularly in the English-speaking, culturally Western nations. It's not because of the horror of what happened to this poor young man and his family, but because of the left's reaction to it. We saw, for the first time probably, in full 8K high definition, just how psychopathic, literally medically psychopathic and inhumane, the widely accepted thinking of some of the radical left had become. Reactions like this one weren't the exception, but the rule among the left online.
This part of this whole thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one. It will impact few. It's just great.
That's psychopathy, right? The loss of any sense of humanity or feeling for a tragedy. Now, of course, she's completely wrong. Charlie Kirk's death massively impacted people all over the world precisely because we saw psychopaths like that and we thought, wow, we knew leftists disagreed with us, but we never thought they were totally inhuman. This is a whole other level. If she was just one in a million, it'd be easy to ignore. But people like that were everywhere online. In episode 427, we brought your attention to the comments that were made by influential left-wing thought leaders in Australia, like Bob Carr, Barry Cassidy, Clementine Ford, Abby Chatfield, and the delightful Hannah Ferguson, all who we felt displayed a disregard for basic humanity in their responses and way too early politicisation of Charlie's murder. Afterwards, Hannah Ferguson, the young feminist who's only 26 years old, claimed, of course, that she was a victim of an orchestrated right-wing attack. There was nothing coordinated, Hannah. It was just a bunch of good people who do podcasts like me and people in the media like me who were responding at the same time out of human decency to your totally awful comments. We didn't need to call each other up on the phone for that and coordinate some attack. And I hate to break it to you, but you're not that important. So get out of your bubble and away from your posse of sycophants for a second. So we saw for the first time in 3D how awful these people could actually be. And it woke many Aussies and many people around the world up to the reality that all that fake kindness, compassion and niceness and social justice warrioring promotion and self-promotion and virtue signaling that the left like to do isn't just performative, it actually belies a very deep nastiness. We also simultaneously saw that Charlie Kirk, who we've been told for years is some kind of evil, right-wing, kooky, far-right Christian nutter, was actually one of the fairest, deepest thinking, kindest and most open-minded promoters of conservative values out there. The question then became, well, who's actually on the side of reality and truth and what is good? To work that out, we've got to first ignore the lie that the left and the right don't exist. They do. They are pretty easily definable worldviews, even though there are many slight variations and big variations. The left are people who are concerned mainly with government and state control of everything, firm in the belief that the government must fix all our problems. that it somehow has unlimited money and resources and smart people, and if only it were given enough power, we'd be living in utopia. The government is good. It should control most of the money and distribute it fairly, or should I say evenly, because evenly wouldn't be fair, actually. And since in Australia, we've never known really, really bad government of the truly, totalitarian, murderous kind, like so many other countries have around the world, we tend to think that the government should step in and fix things, and big government is good. On the other hand, the right wing wants small government. They believe that individual property rights, the right to own and control your own stuff, is essential to human thriving, happiness, and achievement. The right believe that free people creating and trading freely in a free marketplace of ideas and production and commerce will lead to maximum wealth creation for everybody and much better, more positive outcomes for everybody. And the government should only play an umpire role and a physical protection role in policing and defence. On the social side of things, the left believe in the supremacy of the man-made state and lean to an agnostic or atheist worldview, seeing all cultures as equally potentially good or bad and all spiritual faiths similarly. The right want to return to moral standards of behaviour and character, humility, restraint, decorum, discipline, and wealth creation that will enable us to look after the poor, sick, and needy, rather than just sound nice talking about it. Now, most people sit in the middle somewhere. They believe in a combination of the two approaches that's best, and some flexibility is needed. And traditionally, the Australian Labor Party has leaned to the left and the Liberal Party has leaned to the right, giving Australians a choice. But in recent years, the left have become the most powerful and dominant and have shifted the public conversation, education, media, laws, regulations, the bureaucracy, hugely their way. They've captured our institutions, education at all levels now, tertiary, secondary and primary, the ABC, the mainstream media, public service bureaucracy, the managerial class, and even corporate bureaucracy through HR and PR and all the woke initiatives in corporate. And now the flow of investment capital itself through industry and union-controlled superannuation funds. Very, very clever, since in most countries the flow of money is usually the domain of the right and labour is the domain of the left. And they've captured our main conservative political party, it seems, by design or by default, we can't be sure. And the young, because they've never known any other Australia, seem to think this is normal. It's not left-wing, it's just the way things are. But the left got too confident in the past decade. They've been driving some pretty crazy ideas, mainly Marxist identity politics, or what we commonly call woke. The idea that our identity isn't our character or our behaviour or our values or our thoughts, but that it's which tribe we belong to based on race, gender, sexuality, or age. Now, why would they do this? Well, because the left want to hang on to power by convincing us that there's always an oppressor and always an oppressed. That's critical theory. And it's attractive because if you're seen as a victim, there's benefits. And it's also very disempowering for the assumed victims. A point made clear in an interview that former Deputy Prime Minister and podcaster John Anderson did with renowned psychiatrist Dr. Ian McGilchrist of Oxford University a year or so ago. Watch this.
That's a very disrespectful way to look at people. It's untrue and it's disempowering. It's patronizing. So, but if you say that people play a part in whatever societal plight they find themselves, then you're told that you're blaming the victims. But look, life is complicated. There's going to be some blame to be shared. There's going to be things that can be improved on both sides. But just to say it's all about an oppressor and the oppressed is very strange, particularly in a world where people, generally speaking, enjoy, well, until very recently anyway, used to enjoy more freedoms than in any other part of the world.
Psychiatrist Dr. Ian McGilchrist. And of course, only the left can fix things for all of us victims, right? With more rules and regulations and government, more power for them. But people have started to notice in recent years that this Marxist identity politics stuff is, well, nonsense. I mean, yeah, there have been times of oppression in the past, and there's still oppression in pockets today. But mostly, the world has never known a better or more just period in history than that provided by modern, Western, capitalist democracies. Oops. So people started to call out this identity politics stuff in recent years. It got the common nickname woke. We labeled it, we branded it, and we called it out. And so the left's illusory oppression narrative started to die, which is just as well, because the notion that Western civilization itself, capitalism and liberalism, and anything even slightly right of center is evil and bad, is going to destroy the best civilization that the world's ever known.
The breakdown of society is happening very, very fast. I don't know if we can survive it. You can't really take a sledgehammer to a culture repeatedly and only take this attacking position and then expect people to see another point of view, to believe there was something worthwhile that was achieved by this culture. And of course, it's extraordinary that it is the relatively tolerant, the most tolerant culture that the world has ever seen, that existed in the 18th and 19th centuries. That tolerant culture of different positions has led to people being able to take advantage of it and attack it wholesale and do things that are completely wrong, but they feel are justified.
Times might feel crazy right now, but that doesn't mean we're in bad times. We're in the middle of a correction, and that feels messy, but it's a badly needed correction, a good correction, and things will be better in the future for it. So don't worry too much. But we have to get involved. We have to remain vigilant, because the left do still have control of a lot of things, and they won't give them up without a fight. The UK will eventually have a non-left government again. The US already does and is fixing things up. That's going to get really messy. Australia will too, soon enough, as soon as the right get their act together and stop shooting themselves in the foot by reading the tea leaves wrongly. So stay positive. A great way to support the other side is to support our sponsors like SmartKits Australia, the best supplier of do-it-yourself prefab home renovation kits. And it's not just carports. SmartKits do decks, patios and pergolas, flyover roofs and insulated roofing too. All prefabricated, fully engineered and delivered anywhere in Australia. And if you're not too handy, they'll install it for you too. Get onto it. smartkits.com.au. That was a segment clip from our weekly Friday night news show, The Other Side, which you can watch in full by simply going to YouTube and searching up The Other Side Australia. Then you'll find our full shows playlist. You can also find all of our full shows and our segments on our own website, othersidetv.com.au. That's othersidetv.com.au. Help us build a whole new Aussie media by joining us over there and joining up, signing up for the exclusive side.